Welcome to the Sales Acceleration Show. I've always been a very strong believer in channels and partners and indirect models. So I've been looking for a guest that's really an expert in this, and I found him. This is Frie. I'm going to actually let you explain exactly what you do.
Well, thanks for inviting me, Michael. It's great being here. I'm actually working on Howaboutsales. Howaboutsales is a collaboration tool, and we call it a BRM software.
So it's not a CRM?
It is not a CRM system, because we truly believe...
So you've invented a new category.
We invented a new category. No, it's true, actually. Because we believe there's so many CRM systems on the market, and we notice that sales guys are not using the CRM, the data in the CRM, and especially within indirect sales channels. And that's what I would love to talk about.
So when I think indirect sales channels, I used to run a company with lots of partners, and I had some issues there. So I want to start with the issues, because probably people come to you and you're going to say, this is the problem I'm going to solve. So one of the biggest issues is how do you convince these partners to join you? That was a big one. What's the value you have? And then it always goes about margins. And then I always got into this endless discussion of, I need to give you a 30-40%, but why would I give you all that margin? And then the third thing that happened is they took me hostage sometimes.
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
Yeah.
And then you have these friction models. So I'm really wondering, so let maybe go back to the first point.
Well, first of all, so we're building a product today mainly in the market of financial services and construction building. So there might be some of the modules that are not really relevant to the...
I'm thinking reporting, forecast, pipelines.
Exactly, that's less relevant in the first stage. We really focus on the basis of partnership with your indirect sales channel. And it all starts with having a clear overview on where the biggest potential is of your market. And once you get there, it's about really establishing a true relationship in a long term way.
So how do you do that?
Well, it all starts with shifting your approach towards the market, because actually, as you all know, market has been changing the last years.
Dramatically.
Yeah, dramatically. I mean, consumers are buying online now, and
they're cutting out the middleman.
They are cutting out the middleman, and that's what happened. What we saw the last years was financial service providers were like really panicking. Oh my God, what is our role? What will be the role of our intermediaries?
Yeah, but then on the other hand, if I look at finance, they all want to get rid of the offices, and so I think actually intermediaries become even more relevant for them, because it's the cost of acquisition of finding new customers is lower. I mean, there's a lot of value in doing it.
Exactly. So now in the first years, like let's say 4 or 5 years ago, there was a lot of emotion. Oh, what are we going to do? And they didn't dare to talk about this changing role with their intermediaries. But now all this emotion is out of the market, and they all know that they will be still needing each other for the coming 10 years. So that's the first observation. And you see that indeed financial service providers are cutting out a lot of their middlemen. But at the same time, they confirm how important the best of them will still be the coming years. And that's actually where you start, really looking at where the best ones and where are the intermediaries that are together with us in this digital journey. Leads will be coming in from online and might be treated by the principal, but also with the intermediary. So it will be a collaboration. And that's exactly where we saw there was a huge gap. CRM systems today are not built within the context of having both a two-way relationship.
Exactly. I exactly wanted to ask you, because typically they would ask me, how can I control these guys?
Exactly.
And it's not about control. I don't believe in that control.
Exactly. Right. And that's where we saw that there was a huge gap, and that's why we consider CRM systems as our partners, because there are two main gaps that we saw in the market. First of all, there was no digital connection between both parties, right? And secondly,
it's like a joint feeding mechanism, actually.
Exactly.
Very intriguing.
And they were only pushing, like you said, data or products to the partner.
Here are leads, follow them up. You haven't followed them up. Why not?
Exactly. So, and this is the second point where we saw there was a huge gap. It was about the operational role and relationship there existed between both parties. And this is really getting more strategic. And at least we believe that the winning companies of the future are these companies that are able to connect with their partners in a more strategic way. They become strategic coaches instead of firefighters.
Yeah. So do you also set up like partner programs or are you a big advocate of that, or are you saying, it's too generic, don't do that? How would you tackle that whole debate?
Yeah, so we position clearly as a BRM, like a business relationship management, where we make it possible for both parties to share their long-term business plans into one platform. And they're able to collaborate on these strategic topics and to follow up on each other to really create commitment. Because this is really the key word, commitment. If you ask
in both directions,
and this is when you ask principals, headquarters, what is missing today at your sales partners, commitment, they will say. So it's
and sense of urgency, always.
Of course, every time. But at the same time, so this is really key. And we are positioning in this BRM context and establishing the relationship. But regarding your question about the partner material, marketing material, this is where you consider more like the PRM systems, like the partner relationships systems. Yeah, indeed. And this is for companies who are not really like financial services companies or manufacturing companies. It's more in the context where you have your product. And the need to explain the product is more complex.
One of the things there is that when I start with the channel, then at a certain stage, CEO says, we need more channel partners because it's going to increase revenue. So you get a KPI target on getting more partners. Yeah. And I see HubSpot, for instance. They approached me very recently and said, Michael, we think you would be a good partner fit. Please become our partner. And then I'm looking, what's the value? You just have another sign-up form, and I have to sign up. And but we give you all these trainings. It doesn't work this way, right?
Imagine these guys would have come to you and would start to ask you questions about where you're heading with your company in the coming years. How would that change?
It would be very different.
Exactly.
And if they then would be able to add some revenue and say, hey, Michael, we've thought about this, but here are two contacts. Man, I truly believe that only operational efficiency cost. It's not going to do the trick. I believe that revenue and value, mixing those, that's going to be the magic.
What are your main challenges the coming years? What are we going to do with the business? And that's where we believe it's not rocket science. It has been existing for years. And this is what is not in the market today. It's establishing, we're all connected on Facebook, right? And we're within companies, people are connected on Slack and whatever. But companies that are doing business together are not connected in a digital way. And that's exactly where we believe there's a category that we believe needs to be created, which is a business relationship management category.
You really like the word, huh?
I really like the word.
Saying it like 5-6 times. We will put it in big letters on the
Perfect.
thumbnail,
But it's also to say that we believe that it should be partnering with CRM, because there's another aspect that is really important, and it doesn't. I'm not saying it is one type of business relationship management. No, it's the idea, the vision behind it. If you look at CRM today, sales guys are not using it. And what we believe, if you would be able to provide only 20% of the most relevant data on a one-pager, and you provide it to the account manager, and it's a one-pager about the data of the partner, we believe that you can achieve 80% of the impact. Yeah. And therefore you need to partner.
I agree.
With the CRM system.
But you see that trend in some very large SaaS companies where they start using like Salesforce, like the database, and then they start plugging in a lot of other systems. So I believe in this. I don't think the one shop tool. It's like the big mega mods like SAP, Oracle. I don't believe in that anymore. I believe in the mix.
Exactly, and also BI tools. Same thing.
And then you get into predictive analytics, and that's coming, right? That's the next phase.
But companies are now ready to consider tools as not one set of one tool with everything is in it. Yep. No, they know user experience for sales guys is super important, so they need to think about other ways of getting the data out of it and only provide the relevant data and make it possible. And the same thing counts towards a partner. Yep. So that's why we believe it's important to make that difference between strategic user experience tooling and data gathering CRM BI tooling.
It's perfect. You should check it out. Howaboutsales.com?
Howaboutsales.com.
There you go. I truly believe that partners can actually scale your business and you can go a lot faster. You can actually lower your cost of acquisitions. So I love this episode. If you want to see more, subscribe to the channel. And if you liked it, give it a big thumbs up. Frie,
thanks for inviting, man. Cheers.
Cheers.